Howdy, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Hope y'all are doing okay today. So, it is Sunday, June 19th, Father's Day, 2022. And I want to talk about Father's Day a little bit. So, I realize that there are a lot of people out there that have lousy dads, for starters. A dear friend of mine who's several years older than I am, he has told me stories about him growing up with his dad on the farm and all that, and his dad would have him out working at sun up to sundown during summer break, and the second that he got off the school bus, he was working during the school year. And Dad was a mean drunk, and him and his dad got into a bunch of physical altercations. We'll just leave that there. So, how do you celebrate Father's Day with a parent like that? I guess the easiest way to do that would be the most positive male role model that you've had in your life. That same friend of mine became real good friends with a preacher out in Oklahoma, and he still keeps in contact with the guy, and he lives in southern Indiana now. So, I'll hear him, I talk to this guy pretty regularly, several times a week. We've been good friends for almost 20 years now, and we'll get on the horn a couple times a week. When I went out to Colorado, I purposefully added about an hour's extra drive time. Whoa, why are we stopping in the middle of the road? About an hour's extra drive just so I could go see my buddy, and we ended up going out to dinner at O'Charlie's and got us a steak and had a real good time catching up. He bought a new house. I got to see his house. Just had a good visit. But I know a lot of people that don't have or didn't have great fathers, and they often celebrate Father's Day with the most positive male role model in their life. Good case in point, my mother. Her dad was a very absent alcoholic. He'd come home, sober up for a couple months, and then he'd be gone for who knows how long. And she always called her father-in-law her dad. She always go up to him when we go visit on Sunday afternoons. Love you, Dad. You take care. Kind of thing. And Father's Day and Christmas and his birthday were always kind of a big to-do for her toward him. But moving past that, one of the things that I got thinking about, first off, I had a really odd dream about my dad last night. We were, of all things, now, for those of you that don't know, he passed away back in 2016. And one of the things about him is he despised car dealerships, car salesmen, and the entire vehicle purchase process. He had been bit one too many times, I guess, by buying a lemon or a dud or something that spent more time with the mechanic than it did on the road, or more time torn apart than it did on the road. Good grief, I really don't like when people can't drive is this cat doing? Sorry folks, we're doing 20 in a 55 because there's an RV in front of us that doesn't know where he's going or how to drive the speed limit. But he despised anything about the car buying process because he was worried about not only making the right financial decision and the right purchase decision, because you're kind of stuck with a vehicle for at least a couple of years, and not only that, but buying a lemon and having to make payments on something that's a hunk of junk or sitting in the shop was always his concern. But in this dream, we were talking about getting him a new car. Now, I work at the Ford factory, so I get discounts on new cars. Sorry about that, I had to get around the Roadhog. So, we were at the Ford dealership that I shop at, and we were talking with salesmen, just kind of sitting and stuff. I think we drove something in the dream, I don't remember. But, he was really enjoying himself, which was just so out of character for him. And I woke up and realized what today is, and it's just hitting, I guess would be the way to put it. So, he was as honest to himself and his own personal convictions as he could be with me and my sister. So it was just, he was definitely a good father to have as a role model, as a caregiver, someone who stood in your corner. So I guess I'm saying all that to say that, on Father's Day, if you don't have a good dad, whether he's absent, out of touch, or just distant from you emotionally, I'm sorry. And there were times that Dad had to go out on business trips, and this was in the days before cell phones and being able to stay in touch constantly. So, those, I never liked that when I was a kid. I remember that. And then, of course, there's the legitimate bad dads that are, on stuff, physically or mentally abusive. And I'm really sorry for those of you that Father's Day might not be a great day to celebrate, but I'm sure that whether it's the father of a friend, or or someone in the community, it could have been a coach, could have been a teacher, could have been a preacher, anyone at church. There's someone in your life that stands out as a positive male role model. And, thank God that you've got that in your life. And, my dad's gone, and I loved mine and his relationship, and I really enjoyed the ability to take a situation to him and just say, hey, am I thinking right about this? Is the way that this person's reacting to what I'm saying in any way justified? Are they if you were in my shoes, what would you do? How would you think? Kind of thing. It was a great sounding board, and I miss that about our relationship. I remember for several months after he passed, I would be heading to work, and I'd typically call him every day at around the same location on my drive. Just talk to him anywhere from 5 to 40 minutes. We'd talk on the phone about whatever. And it was always our time to catch up, and for months after he passed, that was something that I always looked forward to. So I guess on this Father's Day, if you didn't have a good dad, if you had an absent dad, if your dad died when you were younger, when you were older, and there was a male role model that you, or just not even a role model, but just someone that wiser counsel than you. You know, someone that might have had a couple more gray hairs or a few more miles on the clock or been around the sun a couple more times that you sought advice from. Thank them today. Wish them a happy Father's Day. You know, talk to them. Tell them you appreciate how they stepped in and filled a gap in your life. If you, in more ways than one in a lot of cases. You know, if you had a good dad, thank them for all the things that they do. You know, a lot of the, you know, there's a lot of unsung duties where, and I'm not complaining, not comparing, not requesting, you know, pat on the backs or attaboys. I get that on my own, but there are a lot of unsung duties societally that dads pull that is expected of them, but they're not thanked for it. There's a lot of, you know, just, and I hate sounding like I'm humble bragging or on the SS toot my own horn, but case in point, a couple months ago, my wife ended up quitting her job when we were co-workers, and she decided she was going to get into a trade school. Well, the timing on that didn't line up perfect. She didn't step out of working in the automotive industry straight into the trade school. There was a couple week gap in that, and then on top of that, there were several weeks of training in this trade school. So she was unemployed for a few months and did not have income, and due to just the way that things had been financially for us, we didn't have a huge amount of money in the bank. Had enough, but not a huge nest egg to eat into. And one week I stayed late at work and helped the next shift start up every day. That's something that occasionally at my job will be offered. It's not an everyday thing. It's when they expect attendance issues, or if there's traffic issues or construction issues around the factory. But I stayed over, and you know, the reward on overtime is significant on the bottom line of your paycheck. And so I stayed over 3 days, which translated into me being gone for 16, 17 hours a day. Because let me think, I'd leave at 3, I'd get up at 3 in the morning, be out the door before 4 o'clock in the morning, and I wouldn't be back when I was doing that until 7, maybe 8 o'clock at night. And so, granted, my wife, she helped me out quite a bit because she was getting everything ready for me to go the next day. So all I had to do was walk in, eat dinner, shower, go to bed, get up, go to work. So she helped out quite a bit, but there's a lot of unsung duties that good fathers end up pulling where it's thankless. And so if you have a good dad that's done anything good for you or done anything that went unsung, tell him thank you. On a day like today, I wish I could hug my dad and do that. That's what I got on this one, folks. Thanks for tuning in. I will catch y'all next time.